Welcome back home. Home of silence, home of stillness, home of the light of the spirit. It is such a home that feels like it's full of light. It is not a physical light. It is a light of the truth. It is a light that makes us feel light. It is a light that knows no borders, knows no limits, knows no heaviness, knows no worry. It is a light that goes beyond past, present, and future and unifies all aspects of time. This is our home of light, a light that is beyond time and space, a light that is coming from the one and only that is ever in the home, and that is Almighty God. We are understanding in this series our relationship with our home and the one that is forever pure, forever almighty, forever aware of our original home, God. When we are in the experience of the home, we are as if beyond belief, in our highest possible stage. We are unified in mind, intellect, and personality. There is no duality. We are only one thought, one experience, one vision. And that vision is of us being eternal. There is the experience of being tiny, tiny point of light in a world of light, in a world of silence and stillness. Within this experience are included all our qualities. Our home is not a place where we do not have any feelings. As we experience it now, we do have the highest feelings of peace. There is an experience of being supremely peaceful, supremely non-violent, supremely harmless. Nothing can harm us. There is a feeling of being completely protected, beyond any harm, beyond any concept of violence. Home is a place supremely non-violent, to such an extent that there is no thought of violence. When we truly are in the experience of home, we cannot even think of anything that would harm us or anyone else. All the thoughts about vices, dependencies, anything that was negative or evil have completely vanished from our minds. We are only aware of our original light. The light of the soul is a light of truth. The truth of the soul is a truth of God. In the light of truth, we understand that the Supreme Soul, God, and the human soul are very much alike. And this is our unifying experience in the Supreme Abode. In the Supreme Abode, Nirvan Dham, Param Dham, in the home of souls, we experience that we are like God. Are we legitimate to claim this right? In our traditions, in our religious schools, we have learned that the human being is always much lower than God. We have learned that the human soul is vicious, whilst God the Almighty is always pure and viceless. When we have not understood or experienced our home, confusion, ignorance, darkness are the only way here. Now, when we are able to experience our original home, we are able to connect once again to our original nature. Home is a place, is an environment, is a way of being that facilitates remembering and being in the awareness of who we truly are. In the home, we are at the best possible awareness. We are at the peak of our potential. We are perfect in every single way. We understand ourselves as being perfect. We contemplate that perfection and we reflect and share that perfection through our shining light. That's why the best image to describe the soul in the home is that of a star. A star is a unique individual being that is spreading that light, that rays of light. In a similar way, when we are in the experience of the home, we understand ourselves as being radiant. We are full of all powers, we are full of all qualities, we are complete and perfect, and we experience our light spreading out and reaching out in an unlimited way. This is our experience in the home of being tremendously pure. Purity means light, purity means clarity, purity means being under no influence. In the home, the soul experiences supreme purity, supreme benevolence, being beyond any influences, beyond any push or pull. And the mind is supremely pure. A mind that is pure is a mind that is not attracted, is a mind that is not interested in anything else apart from the light of the soul and the light of God. In this reality, which is our ultimate and primary reality, in our home, we experience ourselves as being like these tiny stars of light, and we experience others as being like the tiny stars of light. We become aware of the first and foremost law of our spiritual world, and that is, we are living beings of light that are conscious of our existence. And that is beyond any body, beyond the sense organs, beyond the physical or material world. In the experience of the home, we realize that our existence in a conscious, pure way is eternal. We realize that we are all alike. Our spiritual world is governed by the law of being all alike, all equal. We realize that there are no differences amongst souls in the home. And that is an extraordinary realization. Looking at this degraded, decayed, corrupt, and vicious image of our world as we see it now in our association with our physical bodies, we realize that this cannot be our truth. This is a creation that has been created in the darkness of ignorance. In the sleep of the consciousness, when we have completely forgotten home and God, we have created this nightmare. We can see the present world, which is a creation of our ignorance, as a nightmare, as a graveyard. In this graveyard, our brother souls are walking around being completely unaware that they are souls, that they are children of God, that they are supremely peaceful, pure, loveful, and blissful. This cannot be called a heaven. This cannot be called a good world or a wonderful world. Truly, there is no higher necessity now for the whole humankind but to wake up to our primary and ultimate reality, which is our original home. In the home, we realize that the soul is eternally conscious, living, and it is like everyone else in the home. In the home, there are no differences of color, of size, of image, of personality. The only one that is forever in the consciousness of the home is God Himself. And God is the one that plays a central role in our home. Whilst everyone else can go away from the home, God remains as a center of the home, as a point of reference, as the one that holds the space. It holds the consciousness and the awareness, the atmosphere of our home. God is like the eternal host in the home. The host can't leave. The host has to stay in the home. And whoever is in the home will have forever that sense that our host is here. When we are in the home, our sense is that God is in our perception. God is in our vision. God is in our heart. Truly, we feel that God, the Supreme Soul, is the center of our world. In our experience now of the home, the intellect, the divine intellect, is focused on contemplating the light of God. In this contemplation, we realize the tremendous beauty and truth that God is sharing with us constantly. God can be described as the ultimate source of truth, beauty, perfection, and peace. The perception of God through the divine intellect, it is as if God is a tiny, luminous point of light. We understand that God is not a point of light. Neither are we souls points of light. God is a soul. And I, the soul, am a soul. I cannot be anything else. I, the soul, cannot be this part that has a certain name, that has a certain association with a human birth, which can be of any duration. This part, this role, is on the physical stage. It is temporary, it is changing, and it is completely unpredictable. However, in the home, the soul is a soul. In the same way, we cannot break a proton or a neutron or even an atom. We used to think that we cannot break it, we cannot give it any other name. A neutron is a neutron, and a quark is a quark, and a proton is a proton. We cannot describe it through anything else. In the same way, a soul is a soul, and we have to use our divine intellect to make sense of it. No matter how difficult we may find it at the beginning to understand and to visualize and to imagine and to describe a soul, we have to do that work. There is no other way around. When we use the word, the soul is in a form of a point, is just a very weak approximation. We are using words from the physical, material world to describe a reality which is incorporeal, non-physical, subtle, and invisible. At least a point from the mathematical point of view is something infinitesimal, small, which actually we cannot even perceive, but we know there is a point. In the same way, we can say we cannot see the soul with the physical eyes, but we know there is a soul, which is in a form like a point. So in our home, all souls are in the form like a point, and so is God. And we have now found the answer to our most obsessive question. Is God omnipresent? Is God everywhere? Is God tremendously huge and big and overwhelming us with his light? And the simple answer is no. Let us let go of all that devotional feelings created in ignorance, feelings created in the sleep of awareness. When we thought that God must be someone really big that is used by religions and by many organizations to scare us and to punish us. So in order to punish us for our sins and to make us feel afraid of what we are doing or what we intend to do, they have shown God as being huge. And also in our darkness, in our ignorance, when trying to connect to God, that experience of an overwhelming light has made us believe that God is a huge, immense light, and maybe one day we will be able to merge into that light. Nothing less truthful than that. Let us stop once forever this devotional vision of us and of God. Devotion means someone must be higher than me to save me from where I am. I am a sinner, I am vicious. Oh God, come and take me out from here. That is our past in the darkness of ignorance. Now, with a light of knowledge, with a light of knowledge that is given to us by God himself, God in the role of a parent, a teacher, a mother, and a father, God is imparting the spiritual knowledge that is helping us to see our true relationship with him and with our home. God has no interest that we remain now in these devotional emotions and thoughts and vision. God is available now through his part of a teacher and of a parent to help us realize our original potential, to help us realize our truth. So in the home, the soul is a soul and God is a soul. The only special position of the soul, of the supreme soul of God, is that he is as a center of our home. Whilst we can all leave the home, God, the supreme soul, is always in the awareness of the home. He is always as if at the center of this incorporeal home. And we understand that he is not truly in the center of a physical home, but he is at the center of an incorporeal home of light. Different images can be used to show that feelings, that awareness, that vision that we may have, in which we feel that our home, our universe revolves around God. We feel as if our divine intellect is looking only at God. We don't look at anyone else in the home. We are just aware of our light, and we are aware of God's light. In the light of this knowledge, we can now understand what is God and what is a soul. Both God and the soul are souls, but God is the supreme soul, whilst all the other are human souls. Both are conscious, living beings of light. The truth of both God and the soul is that they are living, which means we don't really need the body and the breathing and the planet and the air and the 5 material elements to be alive. We already are alive. When we come in the association with the human body, when we come on the stage of the planet Earth, we already are alive. And another point that is the same for God and the soul is that we are conscious beings. The consciousness is a function of the soul. Both God and the soul, we have that function of consciousness. God is not the soul, and the soul is not God. The fact that we are both conscious doesn't mean that we have the same mind. It doesn't mean that we belong to the same consciousness. No. In the same way that you and I have 2 eyes, 1 nose, 2 ears, probably, and 2 hands, but we are not the same person. In the same way, God is a soul, the supreme soul, and has a function of consciousness, and the human soul, each and every one, is a living being that has a function of consciousness. In the home, we realize all the points that are making us similar to God, and we are like God. Home is that environment, home is that awareness that allows the human soul to realize his equality with God. Isn't this the most significant attainment of all our human existence? Does this not answer all our questions? Questions of 2,000 years. Who is God and who is a human soul? Can we ever know God? And God himself is saying, yes, you can know me. You can know me. Just start from returning into the awareness of your original home. This original home is working as if a reset button. We need now to press this reset button to come back into the awareness of who we truly are and judge from that awareness, understand from that awareness, all the other answers are nullified by this awareness. Everything that we taught so far, everything that we have seen and taught, we understood, including all the science of the human beings, is actually false and is worth not a single penny. That is radical, you would say, to believe that everything has been created so far by the human beings is worth not a single penny. Compared to God, the truth, and compared to our home and our truth in the home, everything else created, taught, understood, and explained by us in this physical world is worth not a single penny. What is worth a pound? What is worth a pound is our awareness in the home. In the home, as we said, both God and the soul are living conscious beings of light. We are able to realize that we are souls. We are able to realize that we belong to God. We feel that we belong to God. We feel that we are aware of ourselves and of God. We experience that there is no beginning and no end to our existence, to our life. We experience that relationship with God, an eternal bond of peace, an eternal bond of silence, an eternal bond of power. Through this experience, we realize our equality. We realize that tremendous friendship that exists between the Supreme Soul and all souls in the home. There is a relationship that allows us to see how precious we are, how beautiful we are, how loving and blissful we are forever. In this relationship, we realize that we are like tiny stars of light that are radiating peace, that are radiating silence, that are radiating stillness. We realize that in the home, we need nothing. So we cannot be lower than God. We are exchanging this beautiful, eternal awareness of being living conscious beings of light. In the same way that God is aware of that, we are also aware of that in the home. We don't need anything nor anyone. We are self-sufficient, independent, perfect, complete, eternally. We restore our highest self-respect and our truth. We remain in the awareness of being like these tiny stars of light, radiating supreme peace, connected to God, connected to the entire family of souls in an invisible way. Being conscious, being alive, being supremely pure, being beyond any influence, any attraction, any push or pull. Being in a stage of supreme serenity. The mind is completely peaceful. We are in the company of the whole family of souls and in the company of God. and our mind can experience a mind of God. Equality with the mind of God. We are no less. We are not impure. We are not vicious. We have no past to think of. We are just eternal, divine, living, conscious beings of light. Perfect in the home. This was a short description of what we experience in the home and what are the similarities between God and the human soul. Join us tomorrow for another discussion on our home, how we get back home, and this time we will look at the differences between God and the human soul. Thank you for joining. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.